Hey everybody, John with Deer Addiction. I'm here to bring you the tale of our 2022 Montana elk hunting trip. This was a guided hunt. I understand it's fully different than DIY. You DIYers, I have my hat off to you. My brothers tried that this year. It's very tough hunting, and I understand that this is a different hunt, but we've gone on guided hunts before, and the best we've ever done is 1 for 4, 1 for 5 before, but this year we went 4 for 4 with bull elk in the mountains of Montana. Still got to feel like it was a full hunting experience. These are wild elk. All of us were putting 6 to 7 vertical, miles, lots of up and down mountains, and we all had a great time chasing elk. And this year, for whatever reason, it fell in our favor, and each of us got an elk. So let's get right into the hunt. Well, it's a little bit early, 1:46 in the morning. We're in northwest Pennsylvania, but we got to get to southwest Pennsylvania. Southwest Pennsylvania has a big airport. Pittsburgh, compared to my tiny one up here in this corner. And we are going to be flying to DFW, then to Bozeman.
Continue for 2 miles.
To meet up with the other 3, and then we're chasing elk. It'll be the second week of rifle. We're going to be going out of western Montana, chasing the mighty elk. Come along on the adventure.
Adjust your seats so full upright and locked position.
Johnny boy flying in right now. That's Johnny. Passing a Yellowstone National Park sign because we're hunting about 30 minutes north. Beautiful look into the valley. We're headed into Livingston and dropping down. 6 great days of elk hunting in front of us. Second week of Montana rifle. There's the Yellowstone River. Some mountains in the background.
4 butts. There's one down here too.
Oh yeah,
Step out. And one up there.
all over there. Now that back guy's a buck. There's one above him and one below. He's a small buck. So the very first hunter that got lucky was our very first night in camp. Normally kind of a scouting mission trying to see where the elk are. This is the second week of rifle, Montana. We get a text from the first buddy, Chris, that they were scouting. They saw a bull elk all alone and they put a stalk on him and shot him at 381 yards and dumped him. So this is kind of a zoom in of that picture of what we got the very first night. And we had hoped for, if we've had 1 for 4, we hoped for maybe for 2 for 4. And here we are in the first night of 6 days of elk hunting, and we already have an elk hanging in the shed. So that was a great hunt and a great start to our trip. So after Chris got that first elk in the shed, we were all very excited for the next day and see what would hold. And we did know of some bulls. We did see some very high. There was snow up high in the mountains. We were hunting somewhere between about 7,000 and 8,800 feet. That was the main area, but there were some higher areas. There were some elk up there, but that prime spot where we saw a few bulls was where I just said. So the next morning, I was able to put a stalk on 3 bulls. Unfortunately, they all end up being spikes. And so we moved on to look for something else. Second evening of hunting, we knew that a group of cows had moved in. There were no bulls that we had seen with those cows, but we knew with that big a group of cows, even though the rut is over, often they'll carry a bull or 2 with them. And we ended up getting within one ridge top of them. They were about 650 yards away, and we had a bull that was bugling. So we couldn't see him for a while, but once we saw him, we knew he was definitely one we'd be willing to take. He was a 6x6, there was a 5x6, there was a little 4x4, a couple little raghorns, but he was full in the rut. He was chasing cows, but with the wind and a ton of bedded cows all on either side of this ridge you can see here, we just knew that we weren't going to be able to stalk onto them. So we knew they had moved about 4 miles from the morning before, but these elk were unpressured throughout this day, so we had hoped that the next morning they'd be on the same ridge and we could make a play. Well, the next morning they were a ridge over. So once we got close, I could hear the cows all mewing, but we had a perfect wind, but they had gotten past us. They were headed back to bed early. Of course, they've made it through season this far, so they're doing something right. And we had to beat feet backwards, drop down the other side of this ridge, run up through that, try to get in front of them. And you can see the spot here. This is where we ended up setting up our stand, and we had cows out in front coming towards us, and we were like, where's the bull? Where's the bull? And almost as a gift, we got to hear his just beautiful call. Unfortunately, I didn't capture any of it on film, but his just beautiful bugle that just, I mean, hit perfect, beautiful call of the wild there. And they kind of got a little buggered on me. They kind of made a little move, and they kind of just stopped short. I don't know if they got a wind, although the wind felt pretty good to us. It could have swirled a little bit in the drainage that they were in, but we were high above them on a rock, 210 yards, waited for them to step out into an opening, and I was able to dump them. And that was elk number 2 on the ground, and we're only in our second full day, 2.5 days of hunting. What kind of trip are we having? An amazing trip, a beautiful 6x6. Let's take a look at him.
Just took a bull, nice 6x6, dumped him at about 210, and he sits right here. Dumped him up here by this bush. You can see the crazy step he took. And I was right up in those trees. I'm gonna say right there, hidden behind those rocks. Freaking spectacular day. All right, let's walk up on bull number 2 in my life. He was with a herd of 40 cows. Well, a couple spikes, a little 5x6, but he was bugling, even in second week of rifle. Beautiful bull. Dumped him with the first shot, but he kept lifting his head up. We put a couple more in him. Beautiful animal. Beautiful animal. So grateful to have a chance at him. I think he's got a little, tiny little brows, but something unique here. There and see what I can do about picking him up. Oh, this will be a human highlight reel if he comes down on me. Oh. Look at that bull, boys and girls.
So if you look right here, his pedestal's broke and it comes out wrong out above his eye.
Okay,
Straight
came out
above
low,
his head.
didn't it?
He broke his skull at some point, and that's how it grew.
These animals live on a steep, steep slope. First shot, second shot, and I think I hit him with a third, but I haven't seen that yet. See the tall rock here. This, honestly, this type of hunting was just awesome compared to how we hunt out east, where we kind of have smaller size of properties. We have to wait for the animal to come to us. If we try to pursue them, they're on private property, we're not going to be able to chase them. So it's more waiting for them to come towards you, and the land is less open. So it's much more wooded here. So my buddy John was sitting in a spot where we glassed a bull each of the 2 previous evenings, but we didn't know exactly how good he was. He was just up high, and he set up near this rock. Very vertical climb. This is a heavy climb, especially for a 67, almost 68-year-old. But he was able to climb up there. He was putting 5, 6, 7 miles on a day too. Put the climb up, and as soon as he came out came a bull, trotted out, a smaller sized bull, 5x5. And then as soon as that happened, a 6x6 came, and you'll see the results of that hunt. This is the best shooter in our group. He can nail some tight groups, and he heart and lung this animal. Beautiful, beautiful, typical 6x6.
John is taping out John's 6x6. Elk got some meat, a lot of meat.
Storm coming in, snow on the mountain.
You got it?
That's cool.
That's not a very big bird for a big rabbit like that.
How bad is that?
It's awesome.
He's holding tough. He's like, you guys get out of here.
Trying to fly off with it.
Snowshoe here. That's awesome.
So we're glassing, looking for a bull, seeing if that perfect trip can happen, 4 for 4. And we were glassing, and if you can see, I don't know if I'm pointing to the right spot, but there's a little touch of snow way up here. And if you saw this picture 1 hour before, it was blanketed in snow, sleet, 20, 30 mile an hour winds, miserable, miserable morning, deep snow up top. They came all the way down from the top, and we got to, I could see through my scope orange moving at the top of a rock where we knew that elk like to come. It's where I was the one out of 5 that got one 2 years ago, and it's a very similar location. And my twin brother was up there, and we're wanting to get him across the finish line. And his guide told him, we just need a little bit of luck. And shortly after that, luck showed up. Let's listen in on the excitement after that rolls down.
Hallelujah. Woo! Get fired up. First bull. Just shot for my first bull from the rock way up there. 160-yard shot. He was careening to the right.
Nice. Nice.
20 minutes east of Livingston. We are driving on glass. Wait for the solar power to come up.
On a Montana elk hunting trip. That's excellent, and we're very grateful and give all thanks to God for steering the elk in our direction. And to you DIYers, much props to you. Hopefully this doesn't turn into a bashing contest of who can beat up on the guy that hired a guide. I know lots of other people hire guides, and listen, it's different than DIY and public land hunting. I understand that, but it's still wild elk, still got to be able to climb and move those 6-7 miles to be able to get into position to be able to get the elk. And listen, my feet felt it after those first few days, and especially after carrying that elk out. The elk head and the hide definitely felt good, but you know, you love having that weight on your shoulders. So hopefully you enjoyed this kind of documentary of our hunt out in western Montana. Who knows where we'll go next? Right now, I know we're just sitting back, enjoying it, digesting what's happened. I never dreamed that we would go any better than 2 for 4. You know, we've done 1 for 4, 1 for 5. To go 4 for 4 was really a hunt of a lifetime. So thanks for watching us here. Continue to follow us. We'll have more videos. Maybe we'll get a deer video out here soon. And of course, we'll have plenty of chestnut videos.